Hi, guys. Hi, I'm Harley here at Peace Fans in Seattle, Washington. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the third part of our series called Peace Out, where we're taking you on food and beverage tours and destinations throughout the Pacific Northwest. In our opening salvo, we went on a virtual road trip to the Cascade Loop. Last week, we did a beverage tour. And today I'm super excited to have Leslie Kelly with me, who we've been working on. Hi, Leslie. Oh, and you got your Nomad t-shirt. Nomad
Land, baby. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Talk about
Gotta watch. I mean, you've seen that movie, Harley. It's awesome.
Yeah, timely movie. So Leslie's been a friend of ours for a couple of years. She's a big foodie around Washington State. And do you live in your RV, or you just have the RV, Leslie?
We have been taking a pause, during the pandemic.
COVID. Sure.
That thing. But we were living pretty much full time since 2018, 2019. Yeah. For a few years, we put about 30,000 miles on our motorhome, going back and forth across the country and all around. And
so you're real expert in living, dining, imbibing in a RV, a van, right?
It's always a learning experience, I mean, it's been a real adventure in so many ways. And we do love going to new places and finding all the cool places to eat and places to buy the local ingredients.
Great. Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to take a little tour with you, a little virtual tour around Washington State, stop in some of your favorite destinations, talk about some amazing food options. I'll chime in with some other ideas as well. We're also recording this session for those of you that might have to drop out. If you have questions, you can drop them in the little question comment area, and we'll answer those at the end of the talk. So Leslie, the first place we're going to go, so you'll imagine you're picking up your van, you're leaving Seattle, and we are going to stop in Seattle on the end of the trip, this virtual trip we're going on, talk about our favorite spots in Seattle. But we want to head out of town, and we're going to head out to everyone's favorite Bavarian destination of Leavenworth. Maybe about an hour and a half drive or so from Seattle, 2 hours. Great first day stop if you're doing the Cascade Loop or you're going out to Eastern Washington. Tons of amazing camping out there. But Leavenworth is this, why don't you take a minute and tell our viewers about Leavenworth, and then talk about one of your favorite spots there.
Well, if you haven't been to Leavenworth, you definitely want to go on Highway 2 over the mountains. It's much more scenic. It probably takes a little bit more, like 2 hours, especially on weekends with traffic. Traffic can get crazy. I was a kid. I grew up in Leavenworth. I've got a ton of family there. So I have been going there all of my life. And I think
you grew up in Leavenworth?
Yeah, I was a kid there.
Wow. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep. And have a lot of family still there. If you want to go say hi to my brother, he's tending bar at Sula Vida, and but there's excellent Forest Service campgrounds up by the Icicle River. And I'm sworn to secrecy, but yes. I might tell later. But get into town and you got to go to Munken House. They have the best sausages. They're actually from Bavarian meats in Seattle. And what I really love about this place, which is an open air beer garden, very popular, is they have probably every kind of mustard that you can think of on the plate.
Wow.
Yeah, they have endless kinds of mustard.
Mustard's like a fascinating food because most people's experience is just yellow mustard in mom's refrigerator. But us foodies know, like the mustard spectrum is intense. Yeah.
My favorite is the curry mustard.
Classic German. Yep.
Yeah. And I love the bratwurst there. And, always loaded up with too much stuff, sauerkraut and onions and all that stuff. But that is one of my absolute favorites.
And is there a pretzel option there?
Oh, boy. I don't know the answer to
Well,
that.
we're gonna have to go do our own research there.
We are, yeah. But one thing you want to know about Leavenworth is parking is a bit of a challenge. So, be strategic about that, and maybe park on the edge of town and walk in, because that's
it's a beautiful place to walk into.
Yeah.
Don't try to, especially on the weekend, don't try to get a spot in town.
Don't even go.
Don't even go. Exactly. Just park on the edge of town and do the walk.
Definitely. Yeah.
And any other hot spots in Leavenworth that come to mind to treat yourself?
Oh boy. Well, my favorite little German bakery has been there. It's the Danish bakery right on the main street that's been there forever and ever. But I also like to go to the grocery store. They have a pretty darn good selection of fried chicken, believe it or not.
Selection, like a variation of chicken?
No, it's just straight up fried chicken at your deli counter, but they do a really good job with it. Believe it or not.
Which is one of the best road foods because it's good hot and it's good cold, right?
Exactly. Yes. So after Leavenworth, where are we going?
Why don't we just keep going on this route and head over to Chelan?
Yeah.
And I think you recommend somewhere. I wouldn't necessarily think of tacos in Chelan, but let's talk about tacos in Chelan.
Tacos. There are the tourist destinations that everybody goes to, the little burger stand right by the lake. But I love the taco shop up by Les Schwab Tires. It's kind of tricky to find, and when you're up there, you can always get your tires checked.
Sure, if you need to, although if you're in one of our rental vans, I guarantee you we've checked that before you leave.
Of course. Just
so is it just a little taco stand?
It is more like, it's not a truck. It's pretty much anchored there, but it's just really basic, solid, good tacos, and it's not going to break the bank. You can get them to go and run down to the city park. And that's a perfect afternoon, really.
And it is a beautiful park right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's actually a great campground right in the city.
Right there. Yeah.
Very popular though. So you definitely need to think in advance and get those reservations sooner than later. And then, Chelan is pretty famous for their wine culture there. They've got a lot of wineries. I like Hard Road to Hoe Vineyards. It's up in Manson. And there's some cute little roadside drive-in stuff up at Manson too. So
is there a specific variety of wine at Hard Row to Hoe you like?
Hard
Row to Hoe. Right. Yeah. I got it.
I think they do what Washington is known for, some of the reds, the Merlots.
Right. Sure.
It's been a few years since I've been there, but, and getting a little bit out of town up towards Manson, you get to see a different side of the lake too. So yeah.
Any other spots around Chelan? Chelan is somewhere we don't get a lot of renters going, but I think this year, just from the little buzz I hear, it seems like the eastern side of the state is getting to be more popular with our renters. So any other tips around Chelan you'd have?
There is a really great little natural food market downtown, and of course I'm not remembering the name of it, but it's just right downtown, and I always go there. They have great produce. They have great selection of local ingredients. And like I said, I love, grabbing things and cooking them at the RV park,
So let's take a minute and deviate for a second and go free range. You mentioned cooking with your van. Let's say you just stopped at the Chelan store and you stocked up. What are some of Leslie's favorite things to cook in her van?
Well, I love and I really have to compliment you guys for being so very thoughtful in how you put together the kitchen there. I mean, whoever did that, kudos, because they think of everything. And it was just so easy with the, the little portable stove to get it all going. I like to do things that are, again, local. So I'm always on the lookout for seafood. Probably not going to see that over there in Chelan much, but and something I always love to do is sausages. Grab some sausages and cook that up with some sauerkraut. Maybe make a little potato salad.
Sure.
And of course, pasta is always a go-to favorite. I do a caprese pasta with angel hair pasta, throw in the little balls of mozzarella with some fresh tomatoes and basil and some pesto. Yeah. And it's I like to do one pan cooking.
Yes. We strongly recommend that in the van. If sometimes if you got the kids, you're making 2 meals, so 2 pans. But yeah, if you can make it all in one pan, it's so much easier to prep, clean, deal with.
I came up with, and I'll have to send you the recipe for this. I was pretty proud of myself for coming up with a skillet apple crisp.
Oh,
which I made with some instant oatmeal. It was super easy. And of course, apples are the thing up there in the land. So don't leave town without getting stocked up on apples and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's great. All right, so we're changing it up a little bit. Now we're headed to a different part of the state, Cape Disappointment.
Okay.
Tell our audience about where that is in the state. And there's a little vintage trailer resort there that you love.
Well, so that is about as far west and south as you can get. And it's called Cape Disappointment because Lewis and Clark were going down the Columbia River and they thought they were at the ocean and they kind of got hung up there. They were very disappointed that they were, it was weather related. I think they were there in the winter, and somebody is probably going to correct me on that story, but it is just such a beautiful area. They have just a magnificent beach there and one of the very prettiest lighthouses. And, that area is just stunningly beautiful. And I have a real soft spot for the coast. So, the last time we were there, which I think was last fall, I had been reading this Michael Pollan book called How to Change Your Mind.
Sure. Very familiar with all of Michael Pollan's work.
It's all about taking psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah, and very on brand for us.
Yes, and he he went mushroom hunting at this state park.
Wow.
And so, of course, I had to go look. But the only mushrooms I found were some that were being sold on some little roadside stand, which, of course, I stopped and bought some. And the little the vintage trailer park that I mentioned being very
like Southwester, but spelled
Southwester.
Southwester. Yeah.
And they have a lot of really cool trailers that they have fixed up. They're just in really pristine condition. You can also pull in there and use their park as a place to hook up. That's in Seaview, and that is just up from Cape Disappointment. So that's a really cool place to go.
Yeah, see, that whole area is great, and that area is great for seafood too, which you talked about as one of your favorite things.
Yes.
Like any spots around there?
No, I think I gave you
Sportsman's Cannery.
Sportsman's Cannery.
Talk to me about that.
Well, it's a little tiny mom and pop shop, and you just see it on the roadside and you go, that looks a little sketchy, but trust me, pull in there. They've got a great selection of smoked fish, and they also occasionally will have Dungeness crab, which is just such a perfectly Northwestern experience to have down on the beach, get some crab, just crack it open. I don't know.
Most
I don't know
people,
if
you can usually get the crab like cooked, clean,
Yes.
good to go.
Yes.
A little bit of lemon, a little bit of crusty baguette, and
That's
just
all you need, right?
yeah, it's really all you need.
That's perfect. Now, if you want to get more ambitious, you could.
Yeah, I like ambition.
You could. I'm not going to suggest going out and dumping a crab pot in the water. That's for people who are very serious. But you could try your hand at digging some clams. You got to get a license. You might see people out there doing it on the beach, and sometimes they have, like, don't do this now. We have a red tide. So
right, yeah, you want to follow the local,
locals, right?
Yeah. And have you done any clamming yourself?
Oh gosh, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I prefer to leave the work to the professionals. I'd rather.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I mean, we've had renters go clamming. We do recommend and ask no cooking of the clams in the vans. If you're gonna make a big sort of clam, cook the clams, do it outside the van. It is the smell that can linger.
Oh yeah.
But it is a real delicacy. Just get a license at one of the local bait stores or convenience stores, and a lot of times they'll even sell the supplies and just go dig and whatever the license allows you to take, and just throw them in a pot with some water, maybe a little bit of white wine, some herbs, a couple lemons.
Forget the butter. Don't forget the butter. Come on.
Yep, butter. Yep, and then just wait for them to. What I do is I'll let the clams let them soak, for about 20 minutes in water, and then throw them in a fresh pot of water.
Yeah.
And then just whenever they open, they're good to eat. Don't force them open. And then just pour them into a big bowl with your baguette and your butter, and you're good to go.
Mm.
I know, I'm pretty hungry.
Mouth watering. Okay, that actually, Harley, is a perfect segue.
Yes, let's segue
to one of my very favorite discoveries this past year. Even during lockdown, we were doing some regional travel, and we went out to Emerald Acres Oyster Farm.
Oh yeah,
near Hood Canal.
Mm-hmm.
And that place is on Hip Camp, and I think we're going to include a link to that in the post.
We'll wrap up all these notes and all these places with links and suggested camping sites for everyone.
Well, when you pull into this place, and this the host there, Kevin, is an amazing. He is a oyster scholar. I mean, he knows everything about oysters. There's not a thing he doesn't know. And if you love oysters, you have to go there, because you can make arrangements with him, and he will, pop open some oysters for you right down there on the water's edge. The spots that he's got are really right on the water, and it is this is dry camping. There's no hookups there, but it is just one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had as a food lover. We had these oysters that were, they were just out of the water. So you can't get fresher. And he also cooked up a pot of butter clams for us. And you know what? This blew my mind. He did not put anything on these clams. Nothing. Yeah. And they tasted incredible. They were so buttery, And so that is a fun little, I love exploring the destinations on Hip Camp too, because it's just not your usual experience.
Yeah, we have relationships with a bunch of Hip Camp sites that will leave spots open for our renters. We also have our own private campsites this year. We actually have one on the Hood Canal. And that's so cool. You can stop and pick up a bunch of oysters and then head over to the campsite and hang out there and pop the oysters yourself. That actually reminds me, we don't include an oyster a paring knife for opening oysters in our rental kit. I think it's something we should slot in there, because If you love oysters, like that Olympic Peninsula, it's some of the best oyster grounds in the country.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, again, he is friends with a lot of people who have been in shucking contests and championships. And my husband, he's really good at shucking oysters, but Kevin taught him a thing or two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the most important thing, if you're going to shuck your own oysters, you have to have, it's all with anything. It's about the tools. It's not just the sort of paring knife and the special knife. It's the glove. Like you really unless you're like born and raised, because you can slip, and that knife is, while it's not like sharp like a kitchen knife, it's actually pointed, and oysters are slippery. And then they have all those barnacles on them. If you're going to do a bunch of them, your hand will get really calloused quickly.
So one thing that we picked up from him was we have always used a towel, like a tea towel, to hold them, to give a grip. He uses paper towels.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, because and I can't exactly remember the reasoning, but we've been using them since, and it's
good to know.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a glove, like a special Kevlar glove that I use, but I don't remember to wash it frequently. And then my wife kind of this needs to live on the back porch. Oysters on the Olympic Peninsula.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love pairing my oysters with a really sharp Riesling or another sort of crispy white. Or if you're feeling really luxurious, like something bubbly, a cava, like a Spanish cava, or if you're feeling really luxe, something, obviously French is beautiful to go with.
And of course, many beers go really well with oysters. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite beer from Washington State while we're talking about being
Well, okay, so I'm up in Bellingham, which has a stunning number of breweries, and of course there's Chucking It, the old classic. But I'm going to say I'm not much of a beer drinker.
Okay.
My husband loves the Colshan.
Sure.
The Pill. And so it's very food friendly. And you can find that in supermarkets around the Northwest.
Yeah. So we're going to sort of wrap up our trip in Seattle, and a lot of our renters will spend a night or 2 nights or 3 nights in Seattle on the way in or on the way out. What are some of your favorite places in the great city of Seattle to dine and get a taste of the city? And then I'll share a couple of my favorites as well.
Well, we could spend an hour talking about my favorites, because there are, so many great restaurants in Seattle, and I'm glad to see so many of them are able to hang on through this very
it's been hard,
very challenging time. But I love to go to the Pike Place Market. I know that is kind of
there's nothing the matter. Like the market, it's touristy, but it's authentic. It's a fantastic place.
But
so good.
I've spent so many years going there and shopping there. I know, I got my favorite, go say hi to Chaz at Frank's, and go see the guys at Pike Place Fish. Especially they actually sell the Emerald Lake or oysters there. And I just think about, for breakfast, I love to go to the crumpet shop. I just love everything they do there. The green eggs and ham crumpet is one of my faves. And then also down at the lower market that opened a couple of years ago, I love Honest Biscuits.
Yes.
They have incredible biscuit sandwiches. And those are easy to take to go, walk outside and look at this stunning view of Elliott Bay. And then other favorites, Matt's in the Market. I love to go and sit at the bar there and talk to my friend Robbie, who's worked there forever.
The pink door's got the beautiful view.
Or Tom Douglas's place, Seatown, right there, has an incredible lineup of fish and shellfish, and Boy, there's just
there's so much in the market, and it's a great place to provision too. I mean,
exactly.
like, we often caution people, be careful taking your van on the first day to the market. It's hard to park. Maybe it's once you return the van or pick up the van, but it's still so much fun to spend time in Pike Place Market.
Actually, the parking is not as bad as you think. That little garage right down there on Western is not. It's not bad getting in and out of there, and the rates are okay for provisioning. I love to go to De Laurenti.
Yeah,
they have the best meats and cheeses and pasta and olive oil and wine, and they're very knowledgeable. They're making great recommendations. So there's so much to do. What are some of your faves?
I would sort of steer people. We were talking about crab earlier. There's a new place in Fremont called Local Tide that I'm obsessed with. Fremont's kind of a hipster little neighborhood in Seattle. If you're getting an Airbnb,
I love Revel.
Oh, and I was going to say Revel. Yeah, Revel and Jewel. Those are both like phenomenal restaurants. Absolutely. But Local Tide, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they do a crab roll out of Dungeness crab. They only make 30 a day, and they sell out by 11:20 in the morning. They open at 11.
And how many do you buy?
Yeah, maybe by noon they'll still have a few left. But the crab. But then they have a rockfish banh mi. They have a salmon BLT. This seafood is impeccable, and it's just a sandwich shop. You just order and you eat outside and go to the park. There's I think there's limited table service. And then if you're looking for something like a more like an evening, right down the street is Revel. Rachel and Safe are local celebrity, owners of the place, and both those restaurants are just impeccable, kind of Korean fusion with just wonderful fresh ingredients and really innovative cooking. I think every year Rachel's usually a James Beard finalist for the Northwest.
They're always on the ballot together, and they are an amazing team. I have been absolutely in love with their food from the minute they opened, and they actually my child goes to school with one of their children, so I've gotten to know them really well. So if you want to support a great local couple, Revel or Jewel is a great place to patronize this summer as you visit. So we're kind of almost out of time, Les. I'm gonna see if there's any questions. Usually they pop up in the window, and we'll take some from the audience. Love these suggestions. How do you recommend finding campsites along the way? So for our users who are tuning in, our listeners who are tuning into, because you're going to rent or you're thinking of renting or you want to plan a road trip, finding campsites is, it's challenging in the peak of summer, but there's incredible resources. Start off for the really popular ones at recreation.gov. Those are a lot of your state and national campgrounds will be listed there. Then we mentioned Hip Camp. Hip Camp's like Airbnb for private land. Tons of great sites on there. A lot of campgrounds do reserve 5 to 10 places for first come, first serve each evening. We often get asked, well, can I boondock? Can I find a national forest road? Can I find BLM land? And we will help you with that. If you're feeling confident in your van camping skills, and our vans are all set up for that. You might have to sort of, go to the bathroom in the woods, but other than that, you're 100% independent. We can help you find really hidden gems. They might just be a fire ring, not much else there. Well, and then finally, we do have on our website, we have our 9 unique itineraries, and we have dedicated campsites throughout each one of those. Some of them private that we control and manage. Some of them we have relationships with hip camp owners. So just reach out to us if you're having problems finding campsites. Any tips from you? Harley, one of our go-tos is an app called Campendium. So it's kind of like the Yelp of RV parks, and you can go on there and it'll search by location and it'll give you user reviews. of these places. There's also another thing I wanted to mention. It's an app called Harvest Host, and you have to join it for a year. It's pretty reasonable, but they will share with you various farms and wineries and breweries where you can stay, as long as you and you stay for free as long as you go and buy something. So
Harvest Host is a great option. There's lots. It is, the camp, as you approach summer, gets very competitive for campsites, but you can always squeeze in somewhere or find somewhere. We've even had the rare case where a renter is camped out somewhere and another renter is cruising through the campground, can't find a spot. And we always tell people, make room, you can put 2 vans in one spot. A next question. Are there any other questions from the audience? Leslie, what are the top 5 grocery staples you keep in the fridge for cooking in the van?
Well, I always have to have my eggs in the morning. Eggs, you can have breakfast anytime. So eggs, potatoes, yogurt, granola, on the savory side, pasta. And I've taken to using pizza sauce as a base for some of my red sauces instead of the big bottles of marinara. And it's easy. There are so many great little ready to eat things, even in Indian food, chana masala and stuff.
Sure.
You can pick up at Trader Joe's. I've got bins filled with kind of meal starters, and I've always, got my seasonings. I love the Tom Douglas salmon rub, and salt and pepper, and of course, marshmallows.
Yes, of course, the s'mores.
Right?
Yeah. We with our renters, you get an entire little spice kit, and in addition to all the kitchen stuff, and in there we include these really cool flavored salts from a Firefly Kitchen, which is local.
Yes.
I think there's like a kimchi flavor. I think there's a Northwest flavor. And that's just, you're going to put a little bit of sprinkle of salt on your stuff anyway.
Love that.
This just adds like a whole nother burst of really unique and different flavor.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? Next question. What's included in a rental for cooking? So we have over 115 unique items are included in our rentals. A lot of those are just for camping, but a lot of them are included for cooking. So there's everything from a 2-burner stove to a complete set of kitchen utensils, to the spice kit I mentioned, pots, pans. We really try to provide everything you need. The only thing we've been asked for that we don't include, someone once wanted a ricer, a potato ricer. I think they were going to make homemade mashed potatoes. And it's just like, wow, so a ricer, it's pretty big, And I was like,
that's pretty specific.
Yeah.
What I love about your setup there, Harley, and again, kudos to whoever figured that out, is how they're all organized into the little plastic bins. That's so helpful.
We have some team members with some serious OCD. So your stuff it's not me. Like my stuff is like a disaster. Like I actually spend a half hour looking for any one thing, but that's not my job at Peace Fans. Like the team. It's crazy. Like when I go camping, Leslie, I actually steal the bins from our supply closet because the stuff is so organized and so high quality. And I'm just like, oh my God, like this way I don't forget anything.
Yeah.
I just grab like the utensil bin, the spice bin, the cooking bin, and I'm guaranteed to have everything I have.
That is key. That has been one of the biggest learning curves for us, was getting organized, because I am also a hot mess in the kitchen.
Yeah. And it's a huge perpetual fight with my wife and I. You forgot the chef's knife, or the, God forbid, the corkscrew. And, I'm trying to open the wine with like a screwdriver. And
I'm sorry. That's why they invented twist offs. Come on.
Right. I know, which increasingly is a godsend. So, any other questions, or is that, I think we're kind of over time, but if we have one more, we could take it. What is the clearance of the vans to get into covered garages? Great question. So this is one of the, when you check out a van with us in your rental, we're incredibly thorough about all the information you need. And that height, it varies by van type, but we tell people you want at least 7 feet 2 inches. And between us, it's really 6 feet 10 inches. But like we build a couple inches in there. So most parking garages can take a van. But definitely look for that 7 foot 2 inch thing before you pull into a parking garage. If you are going to spend a night at a hotel, we also recommend talking to the valet parking team and making sure they know the height requirement for the van too. We've been fortunate that we've never had an issue, but maybe it's a numbers game. Maybe it's going to happen soon. Maybe I just jinxed it with that question. I hope not. All right, well, Leslie, Kelly, we're out of time. This has been so much fun. I mean, I love seeing you.
Thank you, Harley.
I hope to see you on the road and share a glass of wine and some oysters at a campsite nearby.
That'd be awesome.
And you take care of yourself. And we'll be in touch, Leslie.
All right.
So thanks, everyone, for joining us. This was the third in our third-part series of Peace Out. This was live broadcast, but if you're watching the recording, feel free to email us questions or reach out to us on social media. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and a great road trip this summer. Bye-bye, Leslie.